Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. Where does that leave you? I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. You're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high-performance person.
I don't want to be like that.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong.
Anyone can sail on smooth waters. Anyone can dance when the music is playing.
So is it just a run in the rain? You tell me.
Remind yourself of what that door opening is going to feel like.
So I have dreams. Compulsions to be legendary, evolving from the imaginary, and it's near and it's real. I can see. In due time we realize that real life is defined by our own eyes. And I have blueprints to the skyline, it's just reality is built methodically, and overnight success you would never guess takes a long time. You have to cut lifelines and navigate landmines, but it's your move on your cue, just decide. So I sat there, thought about it. How long am I gonna go on about it? Put my shoes on, I said so long and went outside. Right through the field I used to run by, where the rows of sunflowers waist high, but it was different than what I envisioned. There weren't any road signs or guidelines or letters that said it's all just fine. It was just me adjusting as I made my way to the sunrise. Then I paused. On the ground below me was a little door. I knocked slowly, was pretty scared, maybe ill-prepared, but we get one life only. So I opened the hatch, looked down, and it's pitch black, no sound. And if you don't choose any road will do. I've been riding logistical merry-go-rounds and my eyes are wide. Restless soul with scores to settle from years ago. I know that there's more cause I told me so. I'm going down the rabbit hole and there's not a way out. The chips fall, I'm all in. Now my prospects are in lockstep and each step is a shakedown. I got a coat of armor, sword of steel, call to arms cause the threat's real. And see, crowns are made on battlefields, so your majesty know I will never kneel. Time to face fear right front center. Watch doubts fall like it's November. Got a treasure map in my backpack, it says life's golden. What a pleasure, been round and round and free falling now cause there's no.
They truly don't understand the principles so eloquently stated by Abraham Lincoln. Quote, you cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're still sitting with the counting of the U.S. elections, which is totally upside down. We are not sure which direction it will take, but the widespread of corruption is getting totally out of hand. And obviously, if you look at the information that people share on social media, and obviously you even get now facts check around the world. Those people that the organization, I would say, that just say they are facts checkers, that are also now becoming a problem. For example, there was a image that was that was shared on social media, especially on Twitter and on Instagram. And basically, they say the thing is it doesn't make sense. The explanation of it doesn't. Actually, the explanation, what the fact checkers are saying, is not talking about the voter registration. If you do follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, and then they will. In fact, Twitter actually censored the whole thing and said that this information is not true. And but honestly speaking, it is based on historical data. But this fact checkers people are also becoming a huge problem, because based on that information on that chart, the chart goes between Wisconsin and what happened historically when people are voting. And obviously, in any voting area, you will have the votes that goes up. If people obviously vote for that candidate, it goes up, and then at a certain point, it reaches peak. Now, that happens with Donald Trump. It reaches peak, and then obviously it flattens out. And with Joe Biden, it was below the red line, which is obviously Joe Biden is the blue line, and then all of a sudden it jumps up in a matter of minutes. So people were saying it's a mailing ballots that came in, but obviously those mail-in ballots needs to get checked. You can't just put that stuff into the system and say obviously they are being checked. Those things need to get checked. The posters need to get checked. The verifications need to get checked. It needs to get viewed by different parties, which is now the Republicans, the Democrats, and also the other parties. It needs to get checked by them. Each one by one, needs to get checked, and then it gets into the system. Now, everybody warned about this mail-in ballot story, but they didn't listen. They went on with it, and the Supreme Court of the United States is actually a huge problem. The big question is now, is the United States becoming a banana republic, like the Republicans or the countries that are basically here in Africa, where like, for example, the president of Rwanda, where he won with 90%, or Mugabe, the guy is long dead, but the corruption is still continue in the same way. Where Robert Mugabe won, I think in the 2000s, where he won actually with 80% the elections. How is that even possible that someone can win with 80%? The Rwandan president, every single year, when there's elections, he wins the elections with 90%. I mean, in Philadelphia, in the United States, Joe Biden won there with 93%. 93% in Philadelphia. There's wide rumors there, or speculation that goes in, which actually the lawyer of Trump actually opened up a case there where they found that people that were dead that also voted. People that were dead. These people cast their vote. There was also someone on Twitter. Now, I don't know if that is true, but obviously that is now happening. When you have a delay in the elections, people start to speculate what is now right. And that is what I said in the beginning. If this election takes too long, or the counting of the stuff takes too long, people will start to speculate what is wrong and what is right. And then someone was putting also on Twitter, where he actually tracked his mother's vote via postage, and then he said, funny enough, the postage was said it was delivered. Now, the problem is the mother never voted because she had dementia. How can someone vote that has dementia? I mean, how is that even possible? The person is not actually behaving consciously. So the person can't vote. But according to this mail-in ballot, the person vote, and it actually went to the polling station where it gets counted. Now, who the hell cast that vote? Dead people are voting. The person that was dead in 1984. The person was born somehow in 1902. and that person actually voted in these elections in 2020, it means it's absolutely nonsense what is going on there. And obviously, whether it is true or not, but this comes in when elections takes too long to count. And that was in front, Trump was actually saying this at the Supreme Court, that it won't work. The counting needs to get done on the 3rd of November. And that is what he said, stop the counting. And every time he says that, the media is just putting a backlash on him that he's crazy or whatever the case may be. But nobody's talking about Joe Biden craziness and the widespread corruption that is currently going on. It is actually sad. It's actually sad that people like you and I, who are not even sitting in the United States. I mean, I'm not in the United States. But people like myself, who's doing podcasting, who's talking on social media, who's talking about who talk to his friend, they are the one who needs to investigate these things, because the journalists in the United States and the media is so hyped up to portray Joe Biden as this savior and this soft guy. And he is literally prime evil. I mean, everybody's looking at Trump's history. Nobody's actually looking at Joe Biden's terrible track record and history. It is a surprise to me also why actually black people voted, I mean in the droves, 88% voted for Joe Biden. And they all look away at the crime bill that Joe Biden actually put in 1994 under actually Bill Clinton, that incarcerated thousands and thousands of black people for petty crimes. It was so profitable, which I will explain later in the show. It was so profitable that private investors actually built prisons during that time. Because thousands and thousands of black people for marijuana that was actually sent to prison for years. People that were basically drug addicts off the streets, you are in prison. All that history that is there for 47 years or 40 years of Joe Biden, when he was the president, not the president, but he was actually working as an official in government in the United States, they did absolutely nothing. Even when he was vice president, he did nothing. He did not even reverse this crime bill of 1994 under Bill Clinton. He didn't even reverse that. He did not. But somehow black people voted for Joe Biden. And if it's true that the people in Philadelphia that voted 93% of the votes that went to Joe Biden, I mean, that is now crazy. Because most of the people in Philadelphia is black. Then I must say something is terribly wrong with black people's heads. But the fraud that is actually going on there, where votes of 100,000 were counted in approximately less than an hour. All the checks that needs to get done before that thing goes into the system. How is that even possible that the 120,000 can just actually rock up so quickly? I honestly, this behavior of the United, I don't know if there is a education problem in the United States, first of all, because how the hell do you vote for that for Joe Biden in the first place? But secondly, it is more to do with the fraud that is going on there. That is the big problem that I have with career politicians. They literally make politics a career. You are supposed to serve the people. That is not supposed to be a career. You are just supposed to serve the people. That's it. And it's supposed to be a terrible job. A low-paced job, actually. Because, in fact, it's supposed to be free because you're serving the people. But you getting this, and they are pissed off now that Trump is there. They are totally pissed off since he got elected in 2016. They are pissed off of the fact that he is there. And he's literally disrupting the bag, as they say in the United States. The golden pot, he disrupted because all the corruption that is being done during the period of Obama and during the period of Bill Clinton, even under George Bush as well. career politicians is always the big problem, because they will talk and say anything just to get a vote and to be in power. Even if it's nonsense, like for example, Obamacare, absolute nonsense, it doesn't make sense, but he sounds so convinced that it will work. Even affirmative action, all the nonsense that doesn't make sense, people will just lure on voters because they know that is their meal. That is what I call career politicians. I don't understand how can people vote so quickly for these idiots. And look where we are now in the United States. It's literally becoming a banana republic. I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with some more information with the elections that is currently on in the United States.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers, while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Cause you rose more, could've run away, could've avoided the thorns, could've been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, cause when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You didn't use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners, we'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation, jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown, just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat. A humble retreat, check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me, I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees, just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I wanna see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No. Come on, man, pick your head off. Go back inside, half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need, and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief, it starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. Until then, it's your town, it's your story, it's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, or they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound, and this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step, and power and progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless, it's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year, in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
But they truly don't understand the principles so eloquently stated by Abraham Lincoln. Quote, "You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves."
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're actually looking at the United States becoming literally overnight a banana republic. It is actually said for the a country that is actually gave birth to democracy, freedom of speech, and all the freedoms of the individual. And if you look when the United States was actually built, it was actually in a time where it was a terrible time where kings and queens and all this stuff was still running the world, and those people just wanted their freedom. And it has all been taken for granted now, where career politicians like Joe Biden and his Democrats that is moving so far to the left. I'm not saying all Democrats are bad, but this is actually terrible for them. Look, there's also Republicans that are bad. But this notion where they're becoming socialist Democrats, it just shows you how terrible that party is, especially with the leader of Joe Biden. Excuse me. It is actually they went totally offline and now becoming basically dictators because they dictating the media. They're dictating the social media instruments, for example, Twitter and also Facebook. If you post something of Donald Trump on your Facebook page, you will somehow it will get blocked. I don't know why they censoring Donald Trump and making him actually totally the evil person. And it is sad actually for United States, a country that actually give birth to free speech and all of those type of things, where they can't be free by posting whatever they want because a tech company will definitely censor them. In the United States, it's actually terrible what is actually going on there. And then you have news channels like your CNNs and NSBC, terrible news stations who just have one side of the story and promoting that one side of the story. Like, for example, the state of the race in Michigan, where it became totally a mockery. The whole entire time, excuse me, the Donald Trump was in front. There's a picture that is circulating. Even Garrett Cliff was actually posting it also yesterday, where basically Trump was the whole time, since 12 o'clock, November 4th, he was in the lead, and the gap was just widening between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was definitely in the lead. And all of a sudden, at around 6 o'clock, just after 6 o'clock in the morning on the 4th of November, where everybody was basically asleep and tired of watching everything, there's a sharp increase in ballots. Now, how on earth is that even possible? And it's just a spike up. Now, as a trader, and I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this, as a trader or as someone that studied maths and economics, I mean, you learn these things in school where obviously something behaves abnormally, then something is definitely wrong. The possibility that something is wrong is very high. So obviously you need to investigate it. Although it's just evidence that is presented on social media. But these things, it's questions that has been thrown there, but the data just doesn't make sense. Where can this graph just go upwards out of nowhere? And nobody is questioning the legitimacy of this whole entire scenario that is going on. And also in the same story with Wisconsin, where also Trump was in the driving seat, it just went up and up. All of a sudden, just before 6 o'clock on November 4th, then the graph again, it just spikes up. Now, the mail-in ballot could be the problem. But as I said earlier, you need to check those things. It needs to get checked. And then what makes it also worse is the fact that Rudy Giuliani or something like that is his surname. I do apologize for not pronouncing his surname correctly out, but he's the lawyer of Donald Trump. And he was talking, I think it was yesterday or the day before, in Philadelphia, where Joe Biden won, but with 93%. That is crazy. But anyway, he was actually stating that the Republicans or the officials that are working for the Republicans couldn't observe the mail-in ballots because they need to check these ballots. Only the Democrats was allowed, and Philadelphia is a Democrat state. Only the Democrats was allowed to view the stuff. Only the Democrats. And he is making a case on that. And obviously, the one that's the judge where he came forward, where they need to present the case, was obviously a Democrat. And the case didn't go anywhere. So obviously that is no surprise. But the thing is to observe. You need to observe, both parties need to observe if all the information is correct on the mail-in ballot. Even with every single ballot, to check and to observe if everything is sorted out. I don't mind if actually all the voting was taking long, but it is a bit of a problem. But if there was transparency where at least people could observe the mail-in ballots and all the other ballots, we would have not sit with this problem. In fact, I agree with Donald Trump that everything should have been stopped at the end of the day on the 3rd of November, because it can't just go on and on and on, because then you have ballots that comes in, which there's also clear evidence where people were stamping or backdating votes for the 3rd of November, and these ballots came in on the 5th, on the 4th, and on the 5th. I mean, it's totally ridiculous what is going on, and voting is the important part of democracy. It is the most important part, and it needs to get protected. We all know what happened in Kenya a few years ago, where also there was widespread of corruption. It went to civil unrest. The Democrats literally plotted a coup d'etat in the United States. Definitely. A silent one also. Because they just don't want Donald Trump to be president. And in fact, it was not possible since day one for Joe Biden. Look, they say don't judge a book by its cover. But honestly speaking, who on earth thought that Joe Biden would have get so many votes? Nearly 80 million votes. He actually got more votes than Barack Obama. He broke records. It just doesn't make sense. These guys are lying so much that their lies now eventually doesn't make sense. I would understand if it may be equivalent to Barack Obama, but we all know what the era of Barack Obama. It was literally the favorite time of people tuning in and wanted to vote during that time. Obviously, this time is a bit different, but it is just not possible for Sleepy Joe to get more votes than Barack. That doesn't now make sense. I'm sure Barack himself is saying, listen here, Joe, we are on the same team, but this can't be true. I'm dead sure he's saying that. It is literally insane what is going on in the United States. And it's very funny how, as I said earlier, with the black vote that went 88% to Joe Biden. I don't know if education is a problem in the United States. Obviously there is a problem, but everybody is saying that there is a problem with education among black people. But in 1994, with the crime bill, where they incarcerated people, especially black people, they literally destroyed. In fact, Joe Biden is the one who actually wrote it, because he actually called it the Joe Biden bill. Basically destroyed black families, which Trump now actually released around 3,000, where he needed to reverse the bill now. So he got at least 3,000 out now. He called his bill the first step, because he stated so clearly that the first step to fix the black community is to get the black man back into the community, to be with his family. That is where we need to start. And then we need to fix basically the schooling system. But he called the bill the first step, where he need to take actually black people first out of prisons for petty crimes and put them into the communities. And then on top of at least to get the black man at home with his family. And from there on, you can start to build. That's why he called it the first step. But somehow, this information you will never ever see on social media. Never ever see, because the only thing that we see about Donald Trump is the craziness that he did, or the crazy stuff that he's saying. That's it. But when it comes to Joe Biden, it's always been made up by this pure person. It's just not possible. And the sad part is, although Joe Biden wrote laws to incarcerate a lot of people that smoke marijuana or use marijuana or sell marijuana or even drug addicts and obviously the selling of drugs, his own son is a drug addict, Hunter Biden. But his son got actually preferences to go to Ukraine and not to the United States, because he was caught serving in the U.S. Navy, and then they found out that he was a drug addict. But he didn't go to the United States to face his charges, to get sent away. No. He got the preference to go to Ukraine. And those of you who follow the story of Hunter Biden, where his hard drive was discovered with all sorts of funny emails that went on, with the corrupt dealings that's actually basically going on there, where the Chinese and the Russians and the people from Ukraine is all involved with billions and billions of rands of corruption that goes in, that also serve the two main culprits, which is Joe Biden and actually the brother of Joe Biden, James Biden. All of them actually combining this big corruption scandal that is currently going on, involving actually the drug addict Hunter Biden. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about it. It just shows you how the media is actually just one-sided. Well, that's why I'm doing podcasting, because the same applies to Bloomberg. Just nonsense that is what has been talking about on when you switch on Bloomberg. One side of the news, terrible financial news that is currently going on. Terrible, especially data that comes from China. It's not being questioned. Even data that comes out of Australia and all of those things. Some way they will question maybe data that comes out of the United States, but they will never ever question data that comes out of China. And we can all see the data has been cooked that comes out of China. We all can see that. But Bloomberg will just say, this is the data that will get released, blah, blah, blah. That goes on. But if you release data from Britain, United States, Australia, Canada, and all of those countries, even South Africa, it get questioned. But no data get questioned that comes out of the communist government. Nothing. How the hell can the inflation rate stay flat the whole time, but retail sales is jumping through the roof? And what the supporter of retail sales is credit. So obviously, why is the inflation is not increasing? Because they know they can't lift up the inflation, because then interest rates go up and then the free flow of credit will stop. It's so common sense what is going on in China. But no. That inflation number never get debated on Bloomberg. That's why I started podcast, because the media is just one side of the fence. Attacking the United States data, everything that Trump is talking about the economy, it's getting questioned. But nothing getting questioned about Xi Jinping. And nothing is getting questioned about Hunter Biden. Nothing is getting questioned about the 1994 bill of Joe Biden. Nothing is getting questioned where Joe Biden was actually the vice president and did not reverse the crimes that he committed against black people. But stupid enough, the black people still went and go and vote for this crazy Joe Biden. It is actually sick what is going on there. And nothing get questioned today about this results that is being, or this voting system that is being created in the United States, where somehow miraculously votes are coming out of nowhere. The media is there to protect the citizens, not there for their own interest. They are not there. CNN and all that ABC rubbish news that is going on there in the United States, it's actually sick what is going on. It's literally banana republic. Those rubbish is actually going on here in Africa. But the free world of the United States getting squandered by the Democrats, it's actually an embarrassment. And Trump must leave no stone unturned when they investigate this nonsense that went on. And I wanted to do the show yesterday, but the data was so confused. But when you look at the data, you can see it's clear corruption that goes on. The sad thing is, will Trump have the energy and the power to go on to the Supreme Court right through? Because believe me, the Democrats is going to come. They will definitely come. Lies on top of lies and top of lies they will do. Because the whole rot must come out. If that doesn't happen, I'm sorry, then is the end of the United States. Trump must literally fight until the bitter end to get things sorted out in the United States. I will just take a short break and then I will come back to you.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Yeah. Period.
I came from the bottom, but I'm coming to the top. Like the test of your will, how much faith do you got? Your foot's on the line, will you ever take a shot and score the game? Winning points when it's zeros to clock. I've came to find that life's a test, there's no cheating either. Just work and stress, if no money's provided, you're eating less. Bills on the table and pain in your chest. You promise you'll pay for the things that you can't. You want the whole world, but it's burning in your hands. You ask for help, no one hears you in the stands. A crowd full of friends you can never call fam. They love you then, but they don't love you now. Your whole life seems to be crashing down. You never feel safe when there's no one around. So if you feel like giving up, you gotta stand your ground. No one else can ever try to tell you otherwise. So stop trying to be just like them other guys. Fake the haters who live in this, see you feeling life. And fuck the coaches who judge it cause of the shape of size. If you ever wanna make it, you gotta show effort and show dedication and crave it like basically nothing else matters but getting that paper and that education. Just take it from me. I ain't doing this shit. The rap with a mouth full of gold teeth. That'll show the whole world that my chain ain't Zoe. Just let the world know I'm an OG. Know I do this for my fam, for my city and for me. Cause honestly, I throw a middle finger up to those who don't. So when you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine, cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind, but if you want it, get it, don't ever give up, you got it, you wanna make it, then chase it, no one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine, cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. People will always try to bring you down, but that's a part of life. Imaginary action when they see your name up in the lights. Ignore the gossip and nonsense you're hearing on the daily, cause if it gets to your head, then you'll only end up failing. Just be the best that you can. Only those who love you will be there in the end. Stick with those in your defense and leave alone your phony friends. Stay on track, don't fall behind. Either chase your goals or fall in line. Bullshitting's only a waste of your time, so go with your gut and stay on your grind. I wanna wake up the world. Someone's gotta hear my message. This is food for your thought. Take it as easy ingestion. I won't leave you in question, just a lasting impression. I'm trying to speak the truth, so take heed to my lessons. This is honestly the most honest things I've said in a while. In life you'll always be judged, eternal circles of trials. Just keep your head up and never ever fall to denial. You're finally on the clock, meaning your time is now. If you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. But if you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
But they truly don't understand the principles so eloquently stated by Abraham Lincoln. Quote, "You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves."
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually United States, if United States is becoming a banana republic. But on the other side of the market, I see the market is actually turning red today with NFP news will be announced at about, I think it's about 2:30 it will get announced. But I doubt that news will be important because there's bigger issues to worry about, which is now the elections in the United States. So I don't think actually that will be of any importance. Like the private news, the private employees news that came out this week, it was absolutely nowhere. So it was there, but it literally it didn't move the market as much. And even the same thing with the United States interest rate decision also last night, where the Federal Reserve is committed to actually to push more QE into the system because they are also strangled. I mean, they're waiting for who will sit in government, and this can take on for months, and they need to get to their inflation objectives. But obviously, the Reserve Bank of the United States, or the Federal Reserve Bank, can only do so much because people need to borrow money from the banks, and obviously they need to be credit worthy and all of those things. And the Federal Reserve wants to have more direct stimulus, where the government is actually giving people money due to the stimulus package of the second stimulus package. But I don't know, will that come soon? It will definitely it will maybe come or something. I'm not sure. But obviously that is what the Federal Reserve want. so that the inflation numbers can go up. And as things stands now, it will not come anytime soon. And that is actually the sad part for the Federal Reserve. They can't do their job because of what is currently happening with the elections of the United States, and literally becoming a banana republic, because now everything is standing still, and the people that are basically suffering is actually the people on the ground, because of politicians with their own interest at heart, especially the rubbish Joe Biden. He is literally led to allow the people. The same applies to Nancy Pelosi. This deal could have been sorted out long before with a stimulus package, but she wants interest of giving money to the different states that have been run poorly. And the more Donald Trump is saying, or was saying at the time, that he will not give money to those states because it's their problem, the more she wants money for those people or for those states in the United States. It could have been sorted out long before, because what Trump's stimulus package was to give money directly to the people. She added money to the states and credit subsidies to people where I don't know where the hell that comes in, but she wants to serve their interests, the Democrats' interests, and not the people. That's why I say that is the problem with career politicians. They want to use taxpayers' money for their own interests. The same applies with today with Joe Biden. I mean, to literally to plot a coup d'etat on the people of the United States, which can now take months to get resolved, because it's court case after court case that will go on, because they want to serve their own special interests. And it's sick that is what's currently going on in the United States. And as I said earlier, Trump was literally fight this thing until the end. The non-farmers payrolls will get released at 3:30, and there's expectations there. The forecast is 510,000 jobs. The consensus have that 600,000 jobs, new jobs that were created in October, and unemployment rate actually what they forecast at 7.7%. Also, there was some good news that came out yesterday. Was the initial job claims that came out. It actually was quite good at 771. It's still a high number, but it was actually a very good number. Also, the Canadian news that comes out, the employment news of Canada. But can you follow that news? Because we're still waiting for bad news that come out, and how the market will react to it. Because if Joe Biden wins the elections, which can be announced at any time, that can disrupt your trade. So the best thing is not to trade with the non-farmers payrolls, because we are not sure what nonsense can come out now when it comes to the U.S. elections. Because honestly speaking, that news of the elections will totally overshadow the non-farmers payrolls news. Maybe on a normal day, the non-farmers payrolls will work, which we all know. But because of this elections nonsense that is going on, it's no use for you to actually trade with the non-farmers payrolls. So also on the stock markets, I see the Dow futures is in the red, but not much. S&P is also in the red, and also the Nasdaq. Europe equity markets is definitely, and stock markets are basically in the red also today. And then you have your crude oil inventories, which are down by 3%. Brent is down. Natural gas is also down. It's quite a lot of down stuff that are down. Gold on the other side is actually up by 1954.85. It's obviously because of the uncertainty and also the Federal Reserve that needed to go on the QE train again to try and boost growth in the U.S. economy. But honestly speaking, when it comes to this, obviously the announcement will be over the weekend. Obviously Joe Biden will win the elections fraudulently, and I think that is where it will stay. Trump will definitely fight this thing to reverse it, because there's a lot of evidence and speculation that goes on regarding these votes. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the United States that listens to my podcast, and I think I can estimate that about 10,000 people in the United States are listening to my podcast on a daily basis. Now, personally, obviously, for those of you that listen to my podcast, obviously you are also Trump supporters or actually in favor of the Republicans. We on the other side in South Africa and across the world are watching this very closely. And it is not just for national importance for United States, but also for international importance. The whole story of the elections is of international importance as well. We will definitely, with our small voices here in South Africa on our podcasts, we will keep the fire burning here in favor of Donald Trump, because we can actually see that this is widespread corruption that is going on. Although I just have data out of Philadelphia, Michigan, and also one of the other states of the corruption that goes on there. I'm sure you guys in the United States have a bit of more. That is now if you can get access to that data, because obviously everything has been censored regarding corruption in the United States. But we will definitely keep the fire burning, and we will talk in our small voices on this side. Small voices counts a lot if we do a lot, and we will just keep it on for Donald Trump and for the Republicans. So keep strong there in the United States, and hopefully the good will prevail. So that is it from our side, and I hope you guys have a lovely weekend, and all the best for the people in the United States. Bye-bye.
The champ is here! The champ is here!